I picked out 2 gameplays. This is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So in this gameplay, I lost my ONYX. I lost my ONYX for you. I pre-recorded this,
Got
so I
it.
got super frustrated with this. I
Mm-hmm.
only play at ONYX level. Even though I believe we lost this one, I still feel like if we replaced, like my teammates were like, eh, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like if I replaced myself with like you, we would have won. So let's check it out, man. Let's check it
Right,
out.
right. One thing I will say,
Huh.
as a precursor is like, with these types of game reviews that I've done in the past, I've had plenty of people who have very similar stories as well. So um,
Ah,
it always comes down to like if there is a loss, even for me. So let me just put this out there as well. Even for me, whenever I lose a game, there are some games where I'm going crazy and we're still losing. But I mean, more often than not, it's more likely that like, I still did okay or did pretty good, but it's like I still could have done better. So I would say if it goes that way for me, it can go, for you, for anyone listening, for anyone watching, it can be the same for you as well. If you're losing the game, there's probably something you can work on. So just want to like put that out there as well, and we'll just jump right into it. And I'm sure we're gonna find plenty of things to talk about. So you're playing silo side, getting into a fight. One thing I will say off the rip here that to me kind of jumps out, and this is something I will say I do complain about with my teammates. It's not,
okay.
it's not the worst thing. You have a 1v1 here, so that means that the rest of your team is fighting around the middle of the map around camo.
Okay.
Probably in a 3v3, or maybe there's some numbers in different places as well. But as soon as you see that guy, I think it's good that you shot him a couple times, but you easily could have just backed down and turned to the right and start looking at camo. Like you see your teammate down here. Um,
Hmm.
he's already down in bottom mid, but you don't really know what's going on in bottom mid right now from where you're at. So just as like
Facts.
a little um, consistency, like guaranteed information to play for, it's like when there's something important on the map, like camo, especially off the rip, or if it's a power weapon like a rockets or a sniper, you really want to be integrated in that fight. Or if you're on this side of the map, you want to make sure like you're pushing through so that you can wrap back around behind these people right away. So let's see what you do here. Because you're still just kind of looking for this guy. You do get the assist, which is nice, but I'm not sure what happened with the camo, and I don't think you really know what happened with camo either. You were never
I
really
have no
integrated
idea.
in that fight.
No idea.
You are playing for
That's a
sword though,
great
which is
point.
fine. But what I was just about to say,
Yeah.
was now since you didn't know what was going on at all on this side of the map towards camo, being out on this platform, jumping out without really knowing anything, this is just what's going to happen. You're going to get absolutely shredded.
So you already knew that going for sword was like a terrible idea,
Not
pretty
it,
much.
so here's the
Is that what
thing,
you're
and I'll
saying?
rewind it just a little bit. Is it's not so much a
Okay.
terrible idea because this is one of those guaranteed factors. Just like camo is a guaranteed factor. It's still up. It's in front of you, and you want to try to play around it because this thing is gonna inevitably probably get you more kills than just like your BR or any other weapon you're gonna pick up on the map. Sword or a
Right.
camo or a shock rifle on recharge at least is they're gonna net you bigger swings in the game than just your BR. So playing around it is important. It's just the factor, like, just think about it this way. You could have done the same thing here, or you still could have had, like, the same play in mind, like, I want that sword, but instead you could have dropped down to the left on these boxes and, like, just check your back a little bit, at the
Okay.
very least. Just play, like, a little slow. Again, if you only see, like, one guy just died in the kill feed, but also your teammate just died, that means it's still a 3v3. You haven't looked at camo at all this entire time, so you don't really know what's happening on the rest of the map. You're just in your own little corner, and you don't really know what's going on anywhere else. So it's important
Oh,
that you
that
get a
is.
little bit more information before just, this is a very big commitment out here. This is just, you're on the island. You really are
Yeah.
literally on the island out here. So throwing yourself out there is just, it's not always a guarantee there's going to be 2 people here. There might have just been just one, but just the fact that you
Yeah.
get shot once or twice in the back, that means you're down in the gunfight, So you're going to have to really step it up if you wanted to get that sword and get away with your life,
Because I have felt like with my gameplay, I'm like, I know I'm doing something wrong. Like there's something I'm
Right.
just doing wrong, and it's like, yeah, I'm just kind of like, I don't want to say like not thinking. I don't want to give
Mm-hmm.
people the wrong impression, but it's like, yeah, like you have to think more about where you're moving to.
No, you do. This is one thing that I say a lot, and it comes down to just the general like self awareness and consciousness
Hmm.
in game. And that doesn't mean like you're brain dead or you're not thinking. No, everyone, even at the highest level, have their moments where you're moving through the motions. You're not really consciously like I need to go here for this reason. It's just like, oh, sword, cool, or
Right.
camo, cool. I'm going for it. You don't really think about the
But
angle sometimes, or the numbers sometimes. because here's another thing right now. Your team just went 4 dead off the rip, and you're already pushing bottom tower to where there were 2 or maybe even 3 people, and we'll see how this works out.
My thinking is I ran in here to try and save people.
Exactly.
See what happened. So like if you go back a little bit, when I spawned, maybe other people do this. When I spawned, I see my teammates fighting. See they're fighting, so I'm like, oh, I gotta run and help them.
Yeah.
But you think no?
Again, so this is the thing to recognize is what you're saying in concept is a good idea. Teammates in gunfight, I want to help. But you need to realize 2 of them are already dead, and you got to think about the time, dump you're gonna have to put into this. It's 51. It takes you about 4 seconds to get into this fight, and your third teammate's already one shot. So I think you could have maybe thrown even a little bit of better nades, to be honest. But it's also one of those things, you don't really have enough information. You just start chucking the nades, and they don't really do too much. And then you're just still kind of walking through while your teammate is dying, and then you also die. So you didn't really get to save them. You didn't get any kills. Your teammates were already dead. It might have been better if you also... Here's another thing as well. Another form of approach, at least in this instance, is if you see your teammates dying like this, also... them all being down low, you don't really want to also be down low. You want to try to maybe, if you want to still commit to this sort of help your teammates play here, you can maybe go up top, like go to top cat rather than bottom mangler here. So you can look down on people. And you also could have maybe gotten a couple better nades, some easy shots. And if you were up top, you could probably easily back out of that fight if it turned sour real quick. But like I said, you kind of overcommitted right away when your teammates were already in the losing fight. So
that's crazy.
You got to cut your losses.
Broke that down because, like, in my head, oh, this was a good move, but you just explained how like somebody could think they're making the right play, but they're doing like the opposite. Like, don't go low, don't run right in. Go for the high ground instead, and try to. I like how what you said, like get more information. Like I had no information. The only info I had was, oh, people are dying over here. But that's just like not enough.
And that the only thing that is enough is like, oh, my teammates are dying over here. Maybe I don't want to go over there because it's like there's no guarantee that this guy even could have been one shot. There could have been 3 people standing in this doorway, all full shield, and you would have just walked into like the firing squad. You know what I'm saying? So it's that type of forethought that you have to be aware of. That doesn't mean always be timid or always be scared. But when it's an instance like this, like your teammates are just turtled up in an area and they just go 3 dead almost instantly, that's a pretty bad sign for at least you that you don't want to also be there. Because this just happens, and like I said, maybe you could have gotten one of those kills, but you probably still would have died, and it would have been like a 3-6 game, and it wouldn't have made that. Yeah, exactly. It would have been at best a trade. Essentially, there's 3 guys there. They're watching that corner.
It's crazy the stuff you're pointing out, like the positioning. Like, man, the positioning is so important.
Yeah, it very much is for sure.
I think what you're pointing out to me is like I'm just kind of like not drawing enough information from my teammates at all.
Yeah, there's definitely times. I mean, this is what happens a lot, and this is why these swings can happen. Is because people are just moving around the map very effectively, not because like they're making great decisions and like being very sneaky. No, these guys are just kind of walking around doing whatever they want, and you and your team are kind of being closing yourselves off to allowing that to happen. Like you have to be on top of the rest of the map. Even if you're not getting kills, just knowing where they're at is very important to then get those kills hopefully later. You know what I mean? You really only want to go for trades if it's like you have to, because I think you could win this gunfight here if you were kind of preemptive with like using the map, using the walls around you. Like I said, honestly, not a bad trade.
In Halo Infinite, like I just go for the melee trade a lot. Maybe because it's kind of hard to shoot, but is that like something you kind of have to wean yourself off of? I know for me that comes from Halo 2. Like I'm used to just being able to BXR someone, for example. I don't know if other people feel that way, but I find that happening to me a lot in this game where I don't know, I get into a fight like in a range like that and I just instinctively go for the melee. But you think maybe it's better to sit back, try to nade them and try to use some cover?
Yeah, I would very much say at a higher level of Halo, it's much better to stay at a close range if you can help it. If there was a much closer position, it's like kind of inevitable. Like say he was not in front of you here, but more so on this triangle space right here. It's probably almost inevitable when you're hugging corners, like you're probably going to be trading melees. But when there's this much distance between you guys right now, realistically, both of you shouldn't just be running straight at each other, or at least you. Thinking about it now, you you had like pretty good cover to play off of.
He
and
was the
maybe
one in
win
the
the game.
open.
Exactly. He was the one in the open, and you want to try to. That's your advantage in the gunfight. Recognizing that is a big advantage for you. So if you can really recognize that, it's huge. And, you know,
Dude, that's
sometimes you're going
so
to die out in the
interesting.
open, but it's just something to think about because you could have probably lived just an extra second there if you already started moving a different direction. Or if you, again, here's another option, is once you started shooting this guy, just start shooting him. There's a couple options. You either full commit to the bail or you full commit to just the gunfight. Because you had a teammate here, and this guy ended up being one shot too. Like, look at that. He's one shot in that corner. So if, like, you shot him a couple times, you might even be alive. That's not always going to happen, but it's much better to, like, full commit to a gunfight and die trying or full commit to just the bailout and run away early so that you can maybe live, you know, to fight another day, essentially. And then you could have gotten your shields and then be up in this gunfight down low.
I definitely don't instinctively look for cover. That's something I have to do.
Yeah.
Especially after I get a kill, because I'm like, oh, I got a kill. And
yeah,
I'm like, now what?
There's definitely some confidence in times, and this, again, it's at every level of play, where, like, people get a kill, and they're just like, I can do whatever I want now. Well, you know, if you only got one kill, there's still 3 people on the map that could shoot you from any angle, and you might already be weak from your last gunfight, so you got to be cautious sometimes. Spawn up yellow, getting some cross-map shots. Nice shots. Also, one thing to keep in mind.
I just jumped out.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Super confident.
This is something that is very risky because you did see 2 people here, which is that's guaranteed information. 2 people, 1 backed up. Now you know 1 guy's weak back here, but where are the other 2 people? You're a little lucky right now that no one's like standing top cat or standing top tower to kind of just shoot you, or even standing like bat ledge to your left up here above grapple. Like anybody from any of these angles could be shooting you, but they're not. Doesn't mean that, you know, you can always, you don't need to ever make this play because jumping out mid is fine sometimes, but you got to recognize somehow like how committed you are to some of these positioning choices. But I mean, you're still playing the position pretty well, reloading. But again, that's kind of like that extra position I was talking about, jumping out in the open. Somebody was just happened to be behind you guys, and you get punished for it. You're just out in the middle of the map.
Just like such a bad decision, I was doomed.
One thing I also want to say, yeah, exactly. So that's what happens a lot of times. Is people like they do something and they're like, "Oh, I couldn't have done anything." It's like, yeah, when you're out in the open like this, there's practically nothing you could have done here. However, you could have done something 5 to 10 seconds ago that would have not put you in this position to be not able to do anything. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have that excuse and have that sort of idea. It's like, oh, yeah, man, I was out in the open. I was trapped in this corner. I couldn't do anything. It's like, that, yeah, you kind of put yourself there. That's what happens. I haven't seen you go for the shock rifle or at least look at it once. And you've been around the pipes yellow area, and if it's me, if I get like 1 kill anywhere, it's like, is the shock rifle up? I'm gonna check it.
Don't lie, that thing is so hard to use.
Yeah, it's definitely
like,
not the easiest thing to use. Yeah, but exactly. So you need to still attempt to do those things because that's how it is with any growth right now for you or anybody else watching. Is if something's hard, well, keep trying it. Keep trying until you can at least get a sort of feel for it and understand it a bit better. Because, like, again, the shock rifle, just like the sword or the camo, is going to be able to get you swings. It's going to be able to get you some easy kills if you use it in the right circumstances, and you can find those opportunities. You just have to look for them and make yourself look for them, essentially.
At this point, I'm feeling totally demoralized. Like, we're so down, you know, and I feel like I'm not playing that great, but my teammates are playing even worse, and this is where I'm just starting to, like, mentally check out. Like, what can you do to, like, prevent that?
So I guess,
is there anything?
So one thing to think about in these circumstances, and especially with Infinite, I mean, any Halo game, it has these moments, or it has this, you can have a switch, and it's like, just look at the time. It's 9 minutes. That is you're only 3 minutes into the game. You have not been in this game long at all. Might feel a lot longer than that, but you're only 3 minutes in. Look at their kills. They're only 25 kills in. They still need half the game. They need half the points to win. So that just means that you guys need to turn this around a bit, maybe slow it down. You need to get some things that are really going to make the game start swinging. Either you have to all be on board and all be on top of your comms and your shots to really just start, like, 3-deading them, 4-deading them. But a better way to go about it, is what I was talking about earlier, playing for guarantees like the shock rifle, like the camo, like the sword. None of them are up right now, but that's why you need to slow things down sometimes. because you haven't. I think the camo came up at about 10 minutes, and it honestly passed us by in this review because you weren't even around it or aware of it.
I haven't even tried to get it in this match. That's crazy, right?
Exactly. So that's something to think about is like, okay, what is the next thing that I can get that's going to get me back in this game? You can also be playing for the Mangler. You know, that's a hot topic with all of us, but the Mangler is disgusting.
Yeah.
The Needler, also very good. Combo in
Really?
yellow to your right, very good. Very easy options that can get you just an easy kill because sometimes that's all you need is just one good kill and your team can kind of start rolling, getting the ball rolling and let it keep rolling. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta look for any little advantage like these things in front of your face, rather than just shooting and just throwing out nades. And then one thing to notice here is that while you're in this gunfight too, with both guys, instead of jumping, I'd rather see you stay more grounded and using the cover to be poking around. Because that's one thing that's a killer in Halo, especially this Halo in particular. If you are jumping, a lot of times it's gonna get you killed, but you're jumping a lot. And it got you even weaker because I feel like it makes it very easy for a shock rifle player if somebody jumps.
Oh, and dude, if I wasn't jumping behind that crate, that guy that came in might not have seen me as easily.
Exactly.
To begin with, probably saw me because I'm jumping up and down.
There's a good chance. There is a good chance. Oh, that's just unfortunate. I mean, that was a good nade by them. If you hear nades like that clinking around, you might just want to take the chance. Yeah, take the chance to like maybe run to like this corner or the other corner, just anywhere from where you're at right now. Like just look around to see where that nade's coming in from and just try to get it. It probably was above your head. It was probably above your head and just drops on you. Because there are a couple good nades you can throw in to tower there. But if you hear those nades as close as they are, they're probably right under your feet. So that's just unfortunate. But this is another thing I want to bring up, is they are 3 dead on this side of the map, and a camo's coming up. So I think you actually noticed the camo this time. You're kind of like, you had that idea for it.
Shit.
However, what I will say is pushing into this quickly is maybe not what you want to do. You probably like playing tower is kind of a death trap. You're trapped in like just a little building, there's no real angles to like play off of and just play your life very hard. Because
like
if there's
bad,
like 2 people here and you're standing up here, your only way out is basically backwards or going forward through that window to the right, and everyone can just see you in the middle of the map.
Just pushing the side of the map where all my teammates are dead.
Yeah.
It's like comically bad.
Yep. So it's gonna be a tough spot anyway. Camo's coming up. You did miss it, I think. So that's another important thing as well, is that I think being tower, if you got here, it was okay, but now there's 5 seconds to a camo. You could have turned around and just been sitting in the pit looking at camo. Because that's again, if they get camo, which is very likely for them to get camo because your teammates are 3 dead, you still at least want to see them grab it and like maybe even kill the guy that might just go for it. Because they're like, oh, we have 3 dead, we can just go for camo. But if you're that last guy that can just be watching it, sometimes you can just kill him and then you get an easy pick because someone's just desperate for a pickup.
Yeah, no.
But instead, like I said, you wasted your nades here. You're not really paying attention, not really looking down. You could have even been top tower. You could have been turned around right now, looking straight down into the pit where camo is.
Yeah, that's why I love everything you've broken down on this, because I felt when I was playing this match, I was like, there's no way we were gonna win.
Yeah.
I felt like if Lucid was in here, I'd have been able to get the dub.
Right.
I feel that is true. I feel like we've been close.
Yeah, well, that is the thing, is exactly what I'm telling you is what I, in my own gameplay, am trying to do as often and consistently as possible. And that's why, like, the reps, the continuous reps with that consciousness is very important, and that self-awareness. Because on an individual scale, you can tip the game to be, like, in your tide. Like, it can be so much closer just because of your own individual performance. Even in this game, which it has a heavier team focus, but there is a lot of room to shine as an individual player in this game.
I feel like if I listen to your stuff, maybe I'm like 13-7 or something. That guy doesn't go 2-13 because I'm alive more to help him.
Yeah, there is a chance. There is a chance. And like there's still gonna be those games, and I've had them plenty of times where I'm dropping like in a Slayer like 15, 20 plus kills, and I still have a teammate that has like 3 or 4 kills and like hardly any assists. Sometimes you're just gonna have a teammate that just drops the ball. It's gonna happen. But if you alone are also having like a pretty poor performance, like you're not having the greatest performance here, and your teammates are also having a poor performance, it's pretty much a team wide, like, no one is really stepping up and really doing like going crazy. Like your teammate also, I think his stats were like 8 and 8. which isn't crazy. Like, he's just kind of like managing barely, and he must just be doing his own thing, not even worrying about teammates. He's just kind of like maybe sitting in some corners and getting some easy picks and trades. That's about all he's doing. But
think,
he
like, at the
himself is
high
also
level,
not playing for the important stuff.
maybe like a bad, like somebody has a rough game, there's nothing that can be done. But this is just like low level Onyx gameplay diamond. So it's like if somebody takes all this advice, I'm gonna take it, and if somebody else takes it, I feel like, it's like law of diminishing returns. So you
Yeah.
put somebody into this match, like you can actually make the difference in these kind of just like diamond 6e Onyx, low Onyx type gameplays where I think more people are at. Not everybody is you, Lucid.
Yeah.
Not everybody is so damn good, if not the best.
Right. Absolutely. And I keep that in mind, and that's why I say what I say. And like, I get a lot of comments too, who are like, dude, these guys are not as good as you. It's like, I know they're not as good as me. I know I put more time into this game and more effort into trying to be a player. Like, it is my job to do that and to be good at the game. But like, even at, Diamond 6, lower Onyx, which is still a pretty big step from where I'm at, you on an individual scale, you, the listener, the watcher, and even you, Sean, where you can still have an impact somewhere in some part of this game, like even if it's just you playing for one camo. Like, again, you didn't play for a single camo this entire game or a single shock rifle. If you just played for one of those things a couple times, that makes a big difference, even for a player like me who might be more consistently making those good decisions, or at least trying to play for those things. I'm not going to always be playing perfect Halo. I'm typically not. But I am at least trying to actively be aware and playing around these factors in the game. Like, that is the it factor in a game, whether it's a Slayer or any objective, is the power-ups, the power weapons, and then what you can do with your teammates and your positioning. It allows you to get those swings.
Love this, man. I love it. I feel so much better about this game right now, because it's like
it's a good
all
learning
the stuff
experience.
you're saying, I can do it. Like, it's not like oh, dude, you got to be no scoping people with the sniper. Like,
Exactly.
you're not no scoping people. And it's like, no, these are like simple things that I can actually improve on. I'm not gonna be able to do them right away, but
yeah, no,
like,
it's more like
right
it's more like a tolerance type thing, where it's like, oh, I should have been aware of this. I did this once or twice, but I need to do that more often or more consistently with my decision making. I need to not throw this many nades here, maybe just throw one here. And like, maybe I can use this position, just I need to look right instead of looking left, because it's just more efficient. It's like, you can still make mistakes, and plenty of people do at the highest level, myself included, make many mistakes. It's just about minimizing those mistakes. I'm not playing, like, I can hit great shots and do some crazy things sometimes, like many other pro players, but we are just playing good fundamental Halo, and that's what really differentiates the greats from just the goods, is about like getting those big swings and getting, the right things and making big plays with them. Because like, you can't really, you can't hit all those no scopes or 360 no scopes or whatever, any good snipes, if you never played for the snipe in the first place,